Okay. Well, we'll jump in here. Thanks, everybody, for joining us now in back-to-back weeks at the same time, same place for a fun paddlehead related announcement here. I think I'm just gonna, instead of filibuster around, I might just hand the floor right to you, Matt, and announce our new addition to the team.
Awesome. Well, before we do that and introduce our guest of honor for today's press conference, I'd like to acknowledge Bill Bavasi in the room, former Mariner general manager and longtime Major League Baseball executive. He's joined the Pioneer League league office, and we're honored to have him help us in this new independent partner league endeavor that we're on. So everybody can welcome Bill.
Welcome, Bill. Love this.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Taylor.
So it's a great day here. Last week we introduced our new manager, Michael Schlact, who has been, as advertised in his first 8 days of employment. He's been amazing this last week. And we promised to give Michael as much support in player personnel as possible. And we are really honored today to say that we've accomplished that goal in spades with hiring a coaching legend in the collegiate ranks. This gentleman has had 6 College World Series appearances in his career as a head coach at Cal State Fullerton and the University of Oregon. He won a national championship with the Titans. He has 8 appearances in the Super Regionals. He made the postseason in his 22 years as a head coach 16 times. He took over an Oregon program that was dormant since 1981. And in his first 7 seasons, he took them to the postseason 5 times, including their first postseason appearance since 1964. The name of the game in college is recruiting, and this is one of the best at doing it. And so he's a perfect fit for our new model here in Missoula, where we're not only recruiting players, but we're signing them, and then we're helping develop them into great players on and off the field. Because George Horton has a Hall of Fame career as a coach doing both of those things. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our new player personnel consultant for the Missoula PaddleHeads. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. George Horton.
Woo! Love this.
George, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Peter. I know Billy's on here and had a lot to do with at least introducing me to this concept of working with the PaddleHeads and the new Pioneer League and the new version of that. It's a strange time being retired and down here in Southern California now, where I grew up and used to coach, and back with my daughters and grandkids, working with the T-ball team and the Firecracker softball team, and trying to get out as much as we can with the COVID protocols and so forth. And I'm happy to announce that both Francie, my wife, and I have completed both vaccines, and we're getting out a little bit more. So what a great opportunity this is. I don't know a whole lot about professional baseball other than how it crossed over into my environment. Don't know a whole lot about independent ball except for how it crossed over into my players' lives as they left my respective colleges. But I do know a lot about Montana and how beautiful it is up there. And I do know a little bit about Missoula and educating myself more and more. What's special about that not only is the countryside and the fishing, but the community and the people up there. I fell in love with the Northwest when I took the opportunity to coach at the University of Oregon. So hopefully this venture in trying to help springboard the paddlehead program to the excellence that ownership and their administration has envisioned will be as fun a journey as I think it's going to be. And I'm really looking forward to it. The other thing that's near and dear to me is, I had some players that were out there in the lower leagues of professional baseball, and they were kind of a victim of the numbers game and the consolidation. And this is a great vehicle, not only to help my ex-players, but so many across the country that are still chasing that dream. And I think you're going to see, at least with the Missoula PaddleHeads, some of the kids venture up in the minor leagues and end up playing in the big leagues.
Thank you, George. And I'll say George's role with us is just that. He's going to help Michael Schlact put together this team on the field. And George has already had a huge impact in 7 days since he started doing this for us. And we're really lucky to have somebody of his stature join our team. We're trying to have our franchise be known for excellence on and off the field, and George is going to be a major piece for us to continue that pursuit. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Taylor, so we can ask questions if people have them.
Yeah, Bill, I see you've already unmuted. Does that mean you're first in line?
Well, I guess it's up to you, Taylor. Yeah, I had a question for you, George. First of all, congratulations. I'm Bill Speltz. I'm the sports editor at the Missoulian, and the beat writer for the PaddleHeads. I love covering the team. I'm sure you've had opportunities here over the last few years. Why this one?
Well, I'm kind of settled into this point of my life and career that I coached for 43 years, gave a lot of myself to the respective institutions and the players, and they gave a lot to me, probably more in my direction than their direction. But what a great journey that's been in relationships, and a couple of the pictures back there and the opportunity to go to the White House 3 times and meet 3 presidents and 5 countries and 40 states and all the journeys and success and failures that we've had over the years. But I think at this point, the funny thing is when I retired and came back to Southern California, very unusual year that the Long Beach State program was open, the USC program was open, the Loyola Marymount program was open, and the Northridge program was open, and all those Southern California opportunities, which would have brought me closer to my family, that 3 of the 4 daughters that I have are living down here in Southern California. Kind of was teed up, and the emotions of whether I want to start another venture or another challenge and do the Division I coaching thing again. And in reflection, it was like, maybe now it's time to give back to the family, back to George Horton, and, not to eliminate boredom, but to accept maybe a lesser challenge, a less demanding challenge that would take me away from the confines of being with my family and so forth. This seemed to be a perfect fit, mixing the challenge and the fun of putting the pieces together and procuring players, and I've already gotten to know Michael, the manager, and what a talented young man he is. And I heard great things about Peter and the ownership through Billy. And that's just been confirmed in the last 7 days in discussions with them. And so it's kind of a mixture of professional challenge, and on the other side, the fun of in my contract will be a couple fishing trips, I understand.
It's not easy to pull him out of retirement, so we had to.
So, again, baseball, specifically college baseball, has given so much to me and the Horton family. It's time for me to give back to those young people and the great administration up there with the PaddleHeads, and see if I can help them along their venture of excellence. And that's the plan. And I think it's different, a little bit different than all the opportunities over the years of being a player development guy, a professional minor league instructor, manager at the minor league level. In that, what's different about this is we want to win, and that wasn't always the highest priority with affiliates. It was about development and playing time and pitching certain guys or hitting certain guys. That was one area of professional baseball that kind of turned me off a little bit. I'm a competitor. I'm signing up to work for some competitive people, and the fact that we are going to try to put together a ball club that can be competitive for the fans in Missoula is very intriguing to me. And hopefully we'll see success right out of the gate.
Great. Coulter, I saw your little hand emoji pop before Muhammad there. Sorry, Muhammad, just right behind. You wanna go ahead? I got you muted here.
Hey, George, Coulter Nuanez from ESPN Radio here. I look forward to our interview here in a little while, so I won't waste any time asking you anything here. But wanted to ask a couple front up, Matt or Peter, whoever maybe speaks to it the best. Why do you think this position of the meeting is essential, and how do you hope that George sort of emphasizes this position?
I'm sorry, Coulter, I didn't hear the whole question. You were breaking up.
Oh, sure. I just wanted to know, what do you think is essential about this position, and why did you think George was the right man for it?
Well, Michael and George make a great team. You know, George has all the collegiate contacts. Michael has all the professional contacts. And so they both really complement each other really well. We made sure that before we committed to this relationship that Michael and George, had talked and they hit it off really well. I'll let George speak to that relationship, but we just really feel like this is a great team to put together the best possible product on the field, and with their different contacts, the way they complement each other, and the way that they're going to work together going forward.
And Matt, George just mentioned it, but it's an intriguing element now that you get to put a high priority on winning. So how exciting is that? And how much different is that than maybe the developmental aspect of the PaddleHeads have been about for so long?
Well, I've done this for a long time, as you know, and I might be having more fun this week than I've had in my whole career. I mean, I've had great moments, championship moments. They've been a blast. But just putting together this team on and off the field, the new PaddleHeads brand, opening day after not having a game for 18 months. I mean, it's just a lot. It's really exciting. I mean, I'm having a great time with it, and having Michael and George lead our player personnel department, I really feel like it's in good hands, and that we're going to have the best possible products that we could have on the field.
Great. Mohammed, you want to jump in now?
Yeah, for sure. George, nice to meet you. Mohammed Ahmad with SWX. I know in your opening statement, you were saying that, you don't have too much working knowledge of independent baseball and professional baseball. So coming into this position, how steep or, how deep is that learning curve, and how do you anticipate just that overall process being as you get started with this position?
Well, it's baseball, and I would say the baseball, the top probably 10 or 20% of Division I programs are very comparable to the league that we're representing. And we shared in my 11 years at University of Oregon, we shared our facility with the Eugene Emeralds, which was most recently a Cubs affiliate, and prior to that a Padre affiliate. Knew Gary Van Tol and others, Pat Murphy and others that managed that and put the pieces of the puzzle together there, and watch them play, and kind of realizing that the Eugene Emeralds, not only did they want to win a championship, and Alan Benavides was a tremendous general manager, and I think he was general manager of the year a couple of years, and did a tremendous job. But also understanding that we hope to be a vehicle for those kids to move up, and that's the same with independent ball. Though the guys don't want to end up necessarily playing for 3 or 4 years on the same team. They want this to open up the door for another opportunity. So, I am, because I've followed my players in their journeys to try to make the major leagues, and because of the years spent and working with professional scouts, general managers like Billy Bavasi. I remember him when he was the Angel general manager, and then countless other great relationships of scouting directors, pro scouts, general managers, and college coaches that operate at the highest level. I think I know what it looks like to have a guy that has a future beyond low A ball or double A, and can work his way up through the minor leagues. The trick is to try to find them and get them and fit the parameters of what the league rules are. The manager at Ogden, Dean Stiles, was an assistant coach at University of Oregon. So the first level of competition there is I started to call some of the guys I knew were available that played for me at University of Oregon, and Dean already had them wrapped up to play at Ogden. So it'll be, it's going to be a little bit challenging, but guess what? There's probably a lot of young men out there that are looking for the opportunity. We think we have a great opportunity and a great environment for them to come and play and try to chase their dream. And it'll be up to me and others to help put the pieces together.
Most definitely. And then question for you, Matt. I know Coulter kind of asked you about this, about, what really stood out about George, but when you really look at his track record, taking Oregon to the NCAA tournament and, winning a College World Series before that with Cal State Fullerton, how much did that make him stick out from maybe other people you guys were considering for this position?
Well, once we heard George was available, and thank you to Bill for that little tip, and Peter talked to George, and I'll let Peter say something here in a minute on that. Once I was told who it was, there are certain people in the business that you don't need to spend too much time talking to, because you already know who they are as a person, the quality of their character, the quality of their operation, and their ability to do the job. And George Horton is one of those people, and I consider him a legend in college coaching. So the minute we heard that there was a possibility that George might be interested in Missoula, it didn't take long for us to try to cement that deal, because we're just trying to surround ourselves with the best people, and George is one of those. So it wasn't a hard sales job for us to. The sales job was our direction to George, trying to get him to get out of retirement and come to Missoula. That's why he's got fly fishing trips on his docket. But Peter, what you want to talk a little bit about that process?
Well, one of the challenges we face this year is that players are going to become available, really good players, all summer. It's not just one wave and we're done. So they're going to be repeated waves throughout the season, before the draft, after the draft, during minor league baseball season. So we really, having our manager be in charge of all of that just seemed like way too much work for us. And we wouldn't be able to do that really well. So we wanted to bring in someone like George, who could assist Michael in that work, and then bring in a coach for Michael and George who also can assist in that. So we think player recruitment is a full-time job year-round, and which is why Michael's with us year-round, and why George is going to help us over the season and make this work. And once we heard George was interested in this, why look further? We were done. So just had him courting George and get him to use a few fly fishing trips to get him to come to Missoula.
I think that's all I had. I don't know if anyone else had anything.
Great. Bill, I see you moving to unmute.
George, one thing that stood out when you were talking initially was you mentioned that the phrase giving back, and I thought that was great. Can you kind of just talk about how you plan on doing that? Because when I hear that, I think, well, probably you can get some of your old players or players to come to Missoula, but just your thoughts on that part.
Yeah, not to be repetitive, but the game has given me so much, and I pinch myself sometimes with the relationships, the opportunities to travel. I mentioned the presidents and my colleagues. As I take a step back, and we didn't win at the highest level like I was used to for my entire career in the last 4 or 5 years in Oregon, unfortunately. But as I take a step back and look at all my players and assistant coaches and colleagues that are now out there running their own programs, and they have the same dreams and aspirations at the college level as I did as I was moving up the ladder, so to speak. And now this is an opportunity to give back and maybe put some guys in position, not only to win and be successful, enjoy the unbelievable experience in Missoula, but also keep the uniform on and maybe move up the ladder. I've seen really strange things happen. Tyler Matzik is one of those guys that's pitching for the Atlanta Braves right now that went all the way back from being a first-round draft choice back to independent ball, and now he pitched in the National League Division Series last year and doing great, you know. And so I think the unique thing now with the new independent mission and the influence of Major League Baseball is that the percentage of guys that we'll see in our league that eventually move up the ladder is going to be a higher percentage than the old independent leagues, because before those guys were in rookie ball, A ball, you know, extended spring, all those kind of things, holding on with their affiliates. Now it's more wide open, where I think we can take a release player here or an up and coming player here that didn't, because of the numbers game and the draft being since the last bargaining agreement in 2012, 33% more guys were signing, and the numbers game was that those guys, even when they had rookie ball and A ball, there was not enough roster positions for guys to get a long look, you know, where baseball is a unique sport where, you know, you don't need to be 6'6" with 7-foot wingspan and be able to jump 40 inches to be a Major League Baseball player, you know, and sometimes it takes time for guys to get it. And I've seen it with my players over the years that Justin Turner, playing for the Dodgers, is one of those guys. He was an All-American for us, but not in my wildest dreams did I think he would be the type of player he is for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And that came late in his career. So I've talked to Michael, as Peter said and Matt said, and it was kind of a little bit of a one-way conversation. Michael had already done his homework like he does with players and managing on me, and called enough people to give me a vote of confidence that we could work as a good team. Certainly he's younger than me, but he's, as Matt said, he's got that professional experience and lower levels and independent ball and contacts. And I think we're a good fit as far as philosophically. I listened to his press conference and how he likes to build a team and how he likes to have his team play. And I'm right up the same line of my philosophy. So I think we're going to make a good team, not only because of our different contacts, but our philosophical mission to how to put the team together and how we want our team to play.
Great. Thanks, George. As we're slowing down on questions, want to open it up to anyone to see if they've got anything else for George, Matt, or Peter at this time.
I think I'm good.
Peter, do you want to say anything else?
No, this is excellent. We're really thrilled that George joined the team. It's an extraordinary step for us.
That's an
I had one more.
understatement. Go ahead, Bill.
I just had one for Peter. Peter, you can't help but be impressed with the commitment you're making to the PaddleHeads right now. And could you just talk a little bit about that and then your goal for this summer?
Well, we're going to win the championship. That's simple. You know, when we bought the team three years ago, I think, you know, we had it's a lifelong dream of mine to be involved with a team like this. And now that we've opened up a whole new avenue of being an independent team, it's just like could not be more fun for us and better for us, and just reinforces all of our work and make this all happen. So, you know, we love Missoula. We're going to be very fond of it. It's our summer home now, and what could be better?
I love that you're promising championships, Peter. You're speaking my language.
Hey, absolutely.
No pressure on the rest of us, right, George?
It's been a mission every single year that I've ever coached. So
That's
it's nothing
right.
different.
Bill, would you like to say anything before we get off?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. No, congratulations to you, Peter and Matt and Taylor. This is a first class operation you got. You know, George has seen kind of two ends of college baseball. You know, there's Oregon has a great program now. There's a lot expected there. There's a lot of pressure there. Cal State Fullerton, if you know the Cal State system, there's not a ton of money there. And so George was really ingenious the way he went about building his clubs, coaching his clubs, building his coaching staff. And that's a real valuable thing. And he touched on it earlier. It's not the players that George knows. It's the former assistants he's got that are out there that have the players. And so I think your pipeline to players is real strong right now. So congratulations to everybody. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us, Bill. It means a lot.
Pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Taylor, quick question for you. I was going to ask you after, but I'll ask you now before I forget. How soon will you have this Zoom thing sent out? Just so I have like a timeline for later.
Let's call it 20 minutes to be safe. We've got it on Matt's laptop and it's plugged in and it's not going anywhere, and we won't have any sort of delays.
That was
Awesome.
that was his subtle reminder for Matt not to turn off the Zoom until he comes tomorrow.
Oh man.
I might add one humorous anecdotal thing, if I may.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's some irony in this, where the new nickname of the Missoula team, and one of our almost annual vacations when I was living in Southern California, we would go to Big Bear with the family, and one of my best friends is still coaching. I played with him at Cal State Fullerton, and the go-to cabin there was called the Moosehead. And so we were obviously very competitive between my son-in-laws and my buddy, and we'd always have a horseshoe tournament that was part of the vacation activities, and we had a trophy and everything else. Well, I developed this sign that when I was talking smack to my opponents in horseshoes and I was getting ready to throw the last horseshoe to win the game, we go with the Moosehead sign. And lo and behold, I didn't know that I might have to use that a little bit in my baseball career. So I haven't talked to Michael about it, whether this might be our home run sign or whatever, but I guess I've had Moosehead in my blood for a long time. And thanks to Matt and Peter, they've allowed me this opportunity to go and help out with the PaddleHeads.
So when we get a guy at second base after a double doing that, we'll know where it
Yeah, that might be, I don't know. I want to stay in my lane and my role. It's not my role, but I might suggest that to a couple of the players.
I love it. I don't know if we don't have any last second questions, I don't know a better way to sign off than that. So thanks everyone for joining. Like had said to Muhammad there, we'll have a copy of this out, and I'll send it to your peers at your networks as well. Make sure that we don't get caught in any junk folders or any problems. But if there is, you guys have my cell phone number and email address if need any support with that. And we're hopefully looking forward to having many more fun announcements like this as a franchise in the coming weeks.
Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Look forward to meeting you guys. Thank you.